Hi guys, I hope that you are all really well and welcome back to my channel. Firstly, I just wanted to apologise for not uploading on here for quite some time. I have been struggling a little bit with my mental health and anxiety after having baby Felix, and I just wanted to take a bit of a break away from the pressures of YouTube. I have been posting over on my Instagram. If you don't follow me over there, my username is below. I'll pop it down there and all the other links that you need as well. So don't forget to follow over there if you want to see like my daily day-to-day life over on stories and on my grid. And obviously if you're not subscribed here, please do subscribe. I would love to have you here as I start making more regular videos again. So the most highly requested video since I've had Felix is obviously his birth story, and I couldn't not film it. It's only taken me 6 months, so I thought I'd start off the video by showing you how he was born. So literally here is a clip of when Felix entered the world.
Lucie, take a breath on the gas. A big breath on the gas. Big breath. Chin forward. And push. Push. Go on, Lucie, push. Go on, girl. Go on.
How many babies do you think I've delivered with this foot on my shoulder?
Many. Hundreds.
Go on, into a push. Well done.
And again.
And again.
Gas off.
Take gas off.
Gas off.
Okay.
He's coming.
Listen, look at me.
Coming.
Well done, he's coming.
Come on, well done, baby. Go on, baby.
Lucie,
Go on.
open your eyes.
Well
Open your
done.
eyes. Put your hands down. Put your hands down to get your baby.
Oh, there he comes. Well done, baby. Well done.
Under your arm.
Well done, baby. Well done. Oh, baby. Well done, sweetheart. Well done.
1744.
Done, Lucy.
1744. Well done, sweetheart. Well done to you.
Congratulations. Did we ring anyone?
No, I need to ring. I need to ring that number.
You're on. Well done. Congratulations. Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you. There's a number.
He's not there for lady.
Houchin. Lucie Houchin.
Look at the camera, mummy.
Oh, you're lovely.
You'll do. Don't need me to shove him back or anything.
We're on level.
Where's that
what are we,
epidural?
level- Oh, he's just been born 2 minutes ago. He's with his mum. Yeah.
Harry, come and say hello.
In there was mummy.
He's in the front room, mate.
Look. That's your brother.
He's so small.
Do you love him?
New plant visit. I like him, mate.
So small.
Do you love him, Harry? Let's see your jumper.
Your brother.
I found it.
I don't know what that is.
For Felix.
Did you get that for
It goes
him?
on the chair,
Goes on the chair. We don't have anything like that, do we?
and it goes on the car. It goes in the car.
I love it. Do you want to give it to him? This is for you.
To Lucie and Scott.
I saw him this morning.
They
They were like,
enjoying a movie.
Houchin?
2020. That's nice.
So here you go, Felix. This is your
Turn the
special
trainers off.
teddy.
Oh. There you go.
It's okay.
There you go. Right, Harry, I'll pick him up and you take his cardigan on. There you go.
Ah.
There you go.
Hello, Felix.
There you go. Right, you alright there, mate? I'm put him a bit like this. Got his head. That's it.
You got a cushion there? Is it comfy?
Is that alright? Is that comfy? Yeah. I think does he need to sit up more? What do you reckon? No?
Is that your brother? Oh, that video makes me so emotional. I just remember that euphoric feeling when he came out. It was so amazing. So let me take you back to the beginning. I was 6 days overdue. I fully expected to go overdue because my first baby Harry was 2 weeks overdue. Literally, he was born right at the last minute, just before they were about to induce me. He decided to come naturally himself. So I was under no illusion that I'd probably have another late baby. I must have had a sweep about 39 weeks and nothing happened. And then I ended up having one at 40 weeks plus 6 days. And when I went for that sweep, all was good, everything was fine. Obviously she checked over the baby and my bump and everything, and I was feeling fine, had the sweep, and then when she checked his heart rate, it was a bit slow, which can happen sometimes after you've had a sweep. But as a precautionary measure, they send you up to the hospital just to be monitored and make sure that everything's okay and everything's kind of happening more regularly again. So I went to the hospital and I was just hooked up to the monitor and everything was absolutely fine. His heart rate picked up quite quickly and I was actually having quite regular tightenings, even though I couldn't really feel them. It was really strange. They actually said they would be surprised if I wasn't up there later having the baby. So I kind of got a bit excited and thought, maybe something's gonna happen now, and I thought I'll go home, get some rest and just see how it goes. I forgot to say, actually, when I had the sweep, she did say to me that he's moved back to back, which was, I was actually quite disappointed about, because I had a back labour with Harry. He moved back to back right at the last minute and it was excruciating pain. So she did say to me, you know, you might have to be prepared to have another back labour, but hopefully he will move. So I went to bed that night at 9:30. I woke up about midnight and I started getting back pain, and I thought, this is it. I know this feeling, like it's in my back, it's all in my back. It wasn't really excruciating pain, it was just like a kind of dull ache to start with. And I got up, had a little pace around the room, and then I went on my phone and I thought I'll WhatsApp my sister and just say, you know, I think something might be happening. And as I went on WhatsApp, she was actually online. Like, me and my sister are really in sync like that. She was online at 12:30 and I said, like, I think something's happening. She was like, that's so weird, I've just woken up and checked my phone. So she came on over. She literally lives 2 minutes away and she was in my support bubble, and she was also like meant to be my birthing partner as well as Scott. And she came over and we stayed up all night watching Married at First Sight Australia series 5. So good. And I was having on and off contractions. They were becoming really regular, nothing too intense, but they were definitely getting stronger as time went on. And then about 4:30 in the morning, my waters broke. Now, with Harry, my waters literally just popped and I heard them and they gushed everywhere. With these, I didn't really hear anything. I just felt this like little bit of a pop and they just started trickling down. So at first I wasn't actually sure whether I was peeing myself or if my waters had gone, but it soon became apparent it definitely was my waters. And yeah, I put on a pad and it was just soaking through. So I rang the labour line and said, look, my waters have broke, because I think that's what you're meant to do. And they said, right, let's see how you go for the next few hours. If nothing happens by sort of breakfast time, then come in and we'll just make sure it definitely was your waters and make sure everything's okay. All of my contractions just completely slowed down as soon as my waters broke, which is obviously the opposite of what's meant to happen. So I wasn't having strong contractions anymore, they weren't very regular, and they literally just died off. So 8:30, I went up to the hospital and they did an examination, which to be honest wasn't very nice. In hindsight, I wish I'd refused to have it, because they wanted to do an examination to check that it was my waters that had definitely gone, but I know it was my waters. And in hindsight, I feel like I was pushed into having that examination a little bit, and it was a really, really uncomfortable one because I was still having little contractions and obviously baby's head was right in there. And it just was really uncomfortable, and yeah, I didn't really enjoy it at all. So she couldn't really even see if it was my waters, so they had to do like a swab test to check it was. Again, I kind of wish I hadn't and had said, I know it's my waters, like I'm literally soaking through pads, but they wanted to do it, so I let them, and they confirmed that it was my waters that had broken. Now, I kind of had an option whether I stayed there and then went up onto the ward and see what happened till the morning, but they were like, to be honest, you might want to be at home because of COVID restrictions. My husband wouldn't have been able to come up to the ward with me, and then he wouldn't then be able to come until I was in established labour. So I was like, no, I'll definitely go home. I got home, had a little bit of a sleep, then I got up and had a little bit of a wander around and nothing was happening. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have to go to bed for the night and see what happens by the morning. Now obviously at this stage they'd booked me in for an induction because you have to be induced within 24 hours of your waters breaking, or I think it's like up to 48 hours of your waters breaking, but they like to do it within 24 hours. So I was booked in for an induction the following morning. So I went to bed that night and had a full night's sleep, probably the last full night's sleep I've had in like 6 months. But I'm really glad it worked out like that, because it meant that we had that time together, just me and Scott. Harry went and stayed with my sister just in case I did go into labour. And yeah, I had like a lot of energy by the morning, and obviously you're going to need the energy by the time you give birth. So that was quite a good thing that I'd gone to sleep. But obviously I woke up feeling like a bit, not of a failure, I just felt a little bit disappointed that I was going to have to be induced, because it just wasn't part of my plan. And obviously when you're induced you can't have a water birth, and that was in my plan, and I just thought it might ruin the whole hypnobirthing experience. I was also quite scared because I'd read quite a lot of horror stories about being induced and about how painful it is and how long it can take. So yeah, I was feeling quite nervous and just a little bit disappointed that it wasn't going to go to plan. So I got to the hospital, it must have been like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And bear in mind that this was during coronavirus times. We weren't in a lockdown, it was definitely less sort of scary then because it was September, but it was still in COVID times, and so everything was quite secure and people were wearing masks and stuff. But to be honest, I didn't think about coronavirus once. It didn't feel scary or anything like that. And obviously you're used to people wearing masks all the time, so it just didn't really make much difference. So we showed up straight away to a birthing suite, which is really nice. Like, it was just me and Scott for a little while, and we just had a little chill out, and then they said we could pop down to Costa and have something to eat, which we did. And then we came back up and they got me hooked up to the drip. So I had the induction drip put on at 2:30 in the afternoon. So it was a good, I think it was like 36 hours they said after my waters had gone, so not as soon as they'd hoped, but it was just such a busy day up there. So for that reason I had to have antibiotics straight away, and the baby had to have antibiotics as well. So as soon as I was hooked up to the drip, I started contracting like immediately, and they were coming thick and fast. I wasn't really expecting that. I think they kind of prepared me for the fact that, you know, they're more intense, the contractions. So instead of starting off quite sort of like quite like period cramps, they do come on quite strong quite quickly. But I was actually having like really regular contractions to the point where they were like, this is maybe a little bit too much. So they did have to turn the oxytocin drip down quite quickly straight away, because my body was just starting to take over. So I was having these regular contractions. Literally, I feel like I wasn't getting much break in between. There was only a couple of minutes in between each one. Yeah, so I was on the drip for about an hour, and by the time I was an hour in, I was at the point where I couldn't speak. And I think any midwife will say it, when you know that your patient can't speak, you know that's when things are really hotting up and getting quite serious. So by this stage I'd only had gas and air. I feel like compared to my labour with Harry, when I had gas and air with Harry, I just did not enjoy it at all. But I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't know how to breathe. I wasn't taught how to use the gas and air properly. But because I'd studied hypnobirthing this time, I had all the breathing techniques, and I feel like that really helped me with the gas and air this time. Like, I knew exactly how to breathe with it, and I had a really good midwife who straight away, she was like, you know, you need to take in the breath as soon as, you know, you're feeling a contraction coming. And I feel like the gas and air really worked for me this time. I feel like it works to a point though. You do get to a point in labour where I feel like gas and air just doesn't take the edge off anymore. So after that first hour, they then turned the oxytocin drip off because my body had just taken over itself and it was just doing the contractions by itself. It just needed that little push to start with. And I asked if I could be examined because I was just really struggling with the pain. It was very intense. So I wanted to see if I could be examined to see if I could have an epidural or not. So my midwife examined me, and she wasn't quite happy with how the position of the baby's head was, and I was still only 5 centimeters. So hearing the words 5 centimeters kind of sent me a little bit out of control. So when I'd been studying hypnobirthing, you are taught to how to try and stay in control, but because of that negative part saying I was only 5 centimeters and I was in that much pain already, my head was just kind of lost a little bit, and that's when the pain started to really take over, and I had a good cry and a scream, and I was just saying to Scott, I can't do this anymore, I can't do it any longer. But whilst I was saying all that to him and having a cry, she'd pressed an emergency button and all these midwives started coming in, and it was a little bit scary. I didn't really have a clue what was going on, but basically from what I gather from it, when the midwife had checked me, the baby's head wasn't in the right position that it should be to come out, so he wouldn't have come out properly. So she wanted a head midwife to check, so the head midwife checked as well, and then they were like, look, we're gonna have to do a scan. So I was literally like on the bed having a contraction every minute or so, and this man came in, a sonographer, with a portable scanning machine, and they were like basically pinning me down to the bed whilst they scanned my tummy. I must admit, this bit was definitely my least favourite part of labour, just because I feel like I had no idea what was going on. There was a lot of people in the room. I was just really panicking because I was in so much pain, but I was also panicking that something was wrong with Felix, and the midwives was like doing the right thing, but they were telling me to close my eyes and keep my eyes shut. They were like, Lucie, just keep calm, keep your eyes shut, you don't need to open them. And in my head I was thinking, why are they telling me to shut my eyes? Like, have they got like a massive knife out or something? Are they going to cut me open? That's all I could think of in my head was, oh my god, they're going to slice me open, like something's wrong with the baby. But then when they scanned me, they saw that his head was fine and it was just a false alarm, so whatever they were feeling wasn't right. So that was all good. And literally as soon as he took the scanner off, I was like, oh my god, I need this epidural. And the midwife was saying to me, it's okay, we've called the epidural, but it's going to be 30 minutes because they are in surgery. And I just was like, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't do this. And as I was saying that and crying and thinking to myself, I can't do this for another 30 minutes without an epidural, I had the urge. Now, if you're watching this and you've had a baby before, you'll know exactly what I mean. I had that pressure in my bottom that is just completely indescribable, and I was pushing. I basically was like, I need to push, and they kept looking at me like, are you sure? You've literally been on the drip for an hour and a half, like labour started an hour and a half ago. You're only 5 centimetres, are you sure that you need to push? And I was literally like, I'm pushing already, he's coming out. So literally it was like, right, let's get this baby out. We were like all up on the bed, I had my legs up and I was pushing, and I pushed for 30 minutes, and at 5:44 Felix was born, and it was just mind-blowing. It was one of the quickest labours ever. They said it was one of the quickest induction labours that they've had. It was just so fast. I don't think anyone expected it, least of all me. I pushed him out with only gas and air, and it was just insane. And they literally were like, right, Lucie, give me your hands, you can pull your baby up. So as he was coming out, I literally reached down and pulled him up onto my chest, and it was just the best moment of my entire life. Like, it was just so euphoric. This little baby that I had wished for and longed for years and years, my little rainbow baby, was there, and he was just finally here and safe, and I just feel like nothing will ever compare to that moment. I just felt so euphoric, and I just cried and cried and cried. I did like proper ugly girl crying, and I just kept saying to Scott over and over, I just really wanted him, I really wanted him. And he was like, I know. It was quite funny actually, because Scott was like really emotional and wanted to be there, and then he suddenly had this massive panic that he had to ring the placenta plus people because I had my placenta encapsulated. So he was like disappeared straight away on the phone, was like, she's had the baby, you need to come and get the placenta. I don't think he realised that it would like save, like the placenta would be okay for another couple of hours. But yeah, it was just absolutely amazing. And it's just funny because I feel like with an induction, you automatically feel like, I know I did, automatically feel like it wasn't what you wanted it to be, or it wasn't to your plan, or it would be like really bad, or it would just not be what you expected. But actually I had the most positive birth experience ever. I absolutely would do that 10 times over again. It was euphoric. Like, it just was a really positive birth compared to my birth with my first son, and I think a lot of that is down to studying hypnobirthing. I think with hypnobirthing you just really understand what your body is doing, and you understand that even if you have to be induced, or even if you have to have a C-section, that you can still make informed decisions and you can still have some element of control. I mean, I didn't listen to a single hypnobirthing track. I think we had Magic FM on when Felix was born, mainly because I think I was just ramped up to that high gear like straight away. I didn't have any of that kind of relaxing, you know, the nice bit of the contractions. I just had it, all of it straight away, and it was so fast, but it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. I managed to do all the hypnobirthing breathing, and I did skin to skin and delayed cord clamping, and it was all just exactly how it should have been, and it was just amazing. After I had Harry, I felt really poorly for days. I had the epidural and I couldn't walk, I couldn't pick couldn't pick Harry up properly. But with Felix, I was up and about within an hour. I had a massive jacket potato with cheese and a roll and toast, and I was just like, I just felt really, really great. And yeah, it was just such a positive experience. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about my birth story. I'm so sorry it's taken so long, but I'm definitely in the right place to be able to share it now. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching how he entered the world. Do let me know what video requests you have. I think my next video is going to be a newborn essentials. Now Felix is 6 months old, I definitely know exactly what got us through these first 6 months. And then I think I'll follow that up with a few routine videos. But do let me know if you have any requests. And thank you so much for all of your support over here and over on Instagram. I just couldn't thank you enough, and I'll see you next time. Bye.